Hello there, this is a re-upload to my video from a couple of months ago due to a copyright strike I got in that video, which, fair enough. And yeah, I've removed the material and here it is again. Enjoy. Hello there and welcome to the channel, and today I feel like a deep dive back into the B5 universe with the Destroyer class White Star, otherwise known as the Victory class destroyer of the Interstellar Alliance, a hybrid vessel of Vorlon Minbari and human technology. This chimera of a vessel was one of the most powerful vessels in the galaxy at the time of its construction. And before we get started, just want to say that linked in the description below are my other channels and my new website. Please check them out. Like, share, subscribe over there if there's anything that you do like, and note that the website is still in development, but I've got it up and running and hoping to try and do a little more on there as well. But with that said, let's get started on this video on the Victory class destroyer. As I said, the Victory class destroyer was named after its prototype vessel, the Victory. The second ship of the class constructed was the Excalibur. These vessels, early in their construction, were hijacked by the President of the Interstellar Alliance to go on a weird adventure to prevent the extinction of the human race at the hands of the Drakh, old allies of the Shadows bent on revenge for the destruction of their masters, blaming humanity for their involvement in the war, seeing it as the beginning of the end for their masters, the Shadows. They would make an example of the human race by wiping them out in spectacular fashion. Failing to do this, they infected humanity with a plague. In the process of this battle, the Victory was destroyed in a battle with a Shadow planet killer. Its sacrifice, though, allowed the planet killer to be destroyed and resulted in saving Earth. Ultimately, the Excalibur was repurposed to find a cure to the Drakh plague, believing it to be of Shadow origin, meaning likely the Drakh were not the ones who created it, meaning someone may have encountered it before. Now that's the basic story of what these ships will be used for. The Excalibur was under the command of Captain Matthew Gideon and his assorted band, which was basically Dungeons and Dragons in space. If you've ever seen it, you've got the captain, you've got the warrior, you've got the wizard, you've got the thief. You've literally got all the players there. Moving on, the ship itself was a large vessel, 1.25 miles in length. It was built, as I said, as a fusion of Vorlon, Minbari and human technology, although its controls for the first time were built along human lines rather than traditional Minbari technological lines for control interface systems, meaning it was easier for Earth Force personnel to adapt to the control and operation of the vessel. It was also equipped, unlike other White Star type vessels, with Earth Thunderbolt class Star Furies. Although it was capable of carrying others, it also carried work pods as well as Kestrel class shuttles. In other words, humanity was greatly more involved with the construction of this vessel than it had been with the previous classes. This was also that humanity's deal was they would benefit from much of the technology of this ship, which would go on into the construction of the Warlock class vessels as well. In terms of offensive and defensive capabilities, the primary defense of the vessel was, of course, its hull, which was a plasteel crystalline composite material that was capable of deflecting approximately 80% of all high-energy impacts on the hull, but of course that 20%, as noted by the ship's engineer, would mount up pretty quick, but it was better than the pretty much 100% which the average vessel would have to absorb. It was also equipped with various high-energy weapons which equaled the firepower of a Sharlin-class Minbari warcruiser, but those are just standard weapons. It also had multiple high-velocity, high-firing rate Earth Force plasma cannons, which were designed for anti-starfighter roles. It also carried multiple Thunderbolt-class Star Furies, as stated. These craft were extremely powerful and maneuverable and capable of atmospheric entry, and capable of combat within an atmosphere unlike previous generations of Earth Force fighter, increasing the vessel's range and versatility considerably. It also had a new launch system which, instead of allowing slow deployment from bays, would literally drop the ships down from a small spike and they would detach and catapult off into space instantly, allowing for very rapid deployment of the fighters, although recovery was still relatively slow, having to be done through a recovery bay. The vessel's main weapons were its main focus. They were Vorlon-inspired weapon systems of a high-energy nature, which required pretty much the ship's entire power supply to discharge just once, leaving the vessel vulnerable for approximately 1 minute while it recharged its main cells to allow the vessel to maneuver and use weapons again, leaving the vessel blind, toothless, and unable to move for approximately a minute. Meaning it would have to rely on any support ships or its fighters to defend it, meaning this weapon was usually a last resort rather than a primary weapon used by the ship to defeat an enemy. The ship was highly maneuverable and extremely fast for a vessel of its size, which was 1.25 miles in length after all. It was powered by a gravitic propulsion system which was highly efficient and also required far less fuel than any other system used by Earth Force, and was also more efficient than the engines typically used by White Stars, meaning this vessel had a lot of range, a lot of speed, and a lot of firepower. Unlike the White Star, which was not designed to replace, despite what some people believed, the vessel was designed to supplement them. The thing was, since the creation of the Interstellar Alliance, the demand on White Stars had increased. Now, the Interstellar Alliance had gone one way in producing new fighters, as well as smaller scout craft for more limited missions that didn't require the attention of a larger warship, such as a White Star. It was effectively overkill to send a large vessel, or relatively large ship anyway, like a White Star, with a large crew of Rangers to deal with small problems that could have been solved by just the presence of 1 or 2 Rangers as advisors, or just to deal with small problems. Now, that meant the use of a large number of smaller ships, such as the Bluebird class White Star. But, in terms of bigger problems, the White Stars were coming up against more and more powerful enemies, and although they acquitted themselves very well, they were massively outgunned and outmatched unless they were in numbers. The idea of the Victory class was to even the playing field with some of the Interstellar Alliance's more powerful enemies, such as the Hand, for example. And this vessel did that very well. It massively outclassed the most powerful vessels amongst the older of the younger races, such as the Minbari, but did still obviously struggle when going up against much more advanced civilizations, but it certainly leveled the playing field considerably, and it gave them the versatility and strength to deploy one large killer starship against a fleet. This vessel was designed to work as a battle group upon itself, not to be used as part of a fleet necessarily, although it was certainly capable of doing so and working as a command vessel. It was designed to operate in deep space for protracted periods of time on its own without aid or resupply. Or if it did need resupply, it could do it in the field rather than have to go home like a Bluebird class would have to do because of the limited fuel supply of such small craft. This vessel, on the other hand, because of its new engines and other sub-support systems, it simply didn't need to return home. It could just stay out, such as the 5-year mission that Captain Gideon took the ship on to find the cure for the Dwark Plague, although there is more to that story, of course. That's effectively what this ship was designed to do. Operate completely unaided for long periods of time. So there we have the Victory class destroyer. Personally, one of my favorite ships in the Babylon 5 universe. I found it very interesting that they went the direction of slowly making the ships more user-friendly to the other races, as Minbari systems were very Minbari, but humans, Drazi, Narns, other races who were joining the Interstellar Alliance actually found human-style interfaces at least a little bit more comfortable to them. Certainly humans, who made up one of the greater numbers of the Onlashock at this time, would find such adaptability better. Of course, out of universe, that was probably done just to make the sets not all so alien to the viewers and make them more familiar. But all the same, fantastic ship, fantastic series that got cancelled before its time, and seeing that there is a B5 reboot or possible offshoot with soft reboot, something coming soon. Straczynski hasn't as yet exactly specified precisely what form the series will take, and if it is going to be set within the same universe that existed before, they really need to continue on the story of the Excalibur and the Victory class and bring it back. Anyway, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and again, please check out my other channels that are listed in the description below, as well as check out my website that is still in development, but it is there, so please check it out. With all that said, thank you for watching if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Bye bye.